everyone says to have a vision board, which is great. A clarity board has SMART goals. The main thing is that you have how much it's going to cost you, what the down payment is, what the monthly payment's going to be, and a time frame.
A lot of people put goals without a deadline, without a time frame. And I was like, well, what's the difference between the next year or,
It's a dream.
or 20 years? Yeah, I really can't feel it like that. The pressure. I love that.
At the time, I had 4 different solar companies.
So I wanted to know how that jump went from solar to to oil.
I'm going to be so good that they cannot deny me. They cannot ignore me. And at that point, I started really, really honing in on my identity.
So you like the helping others. I think you found some people do it for the money, and other people have a mission behind it.
Most people that do it for the money is why you see burnout.
Do you still have the Tesla shares?
Of course I do. I've been buying Tesla shares forever.
CEO in motion. CEO in motion. CEO in motion. CEO in motion.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mikey Lucas, welcome to an episode of CEO in Motion. I'm excited to have you, brother. How you doing?
Doing amazing, man. Doing amazing. It's good to be home in Vegas.
Yeah, welcome to Vegas. So are you from Vegas?
Yeah, originally born and raised in Vegas.
Oh, snap. Where do you live now?
I'm in Houston.
Oh, you are in Houston. Welcome back to your hometown. I'm trying to welcome you, man. You're more Vegas than I'm Vegas, man.
No, you're here.
I've only been here for like 3-4 years, so I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. We'll get more in touch into what you do, but you are the founder of American Energy Fund.
Yep.
And but you do a lot of stuff, man. So first I want to get into what are you doing here in Vegas right now?
So
you're nicely dressed.
Yeah, so I spoke at an event called SolarCon.
Awesome. Yes.
And
some big people were speaking there.
Yeah. Kevin O'Leary, Damon John, David Goggins, Brian Tracy was there. Some really awesome people.
They're all huge people. I'm a huge Brian Tracy fan. Since San Diego days, and woo, even the taxis. Here we go in Vegas. Big, Brian Tracy. I just saw like David Goggins like 2 days ago running in Summerlin.
Yeah,
he lives here.
He lives right here, yeah.
So I have run into him once before, and he's running his usual, and I was like, man, that's David Goggins, and I kind of went in my car with him, and I kind of followed him, and I just rolled out my window, and I was, hey, Mr. Goggins, can I take a picture with you? And he just kind of like looks at me, he's like, well, get out your damn car, man, let's go.
That's hilarious.
And I remember that, but he's been really cool. So this time around, I didn't follow him, so there you go. How does that feel, man, being on stage like that?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. I actually never thought I would be at that position, but I always wanted to. I aspired to, but I didn't know. Especially back then, I did door-to-door sales. It started in alarms and then got into residential solar.
Okay.
And so started personal development journey, self-mastery journey, and was like, watching, studying, was like, man, I aspire to be like these guys, right? They're married, they're, making multiple 6 figures a year, they got multiple kids, and they're super organized and good people, into personal development, good religious men, Christian men, and I just was like, I don't know, I never thought I would actually get to that point, but push comes to shove, and
you did it.
Speaking at SolarCon, and yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting how it works.
That's awesome, man. So I like all this stuff. So I want to get to know you more a little bit on the personal side. So
love that.
We'll get into a lot of the business, and I was kind of reading up on your stuff. But so you're married, I'm guessing.
Yep.
With kids too?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
No, we've been we celebrated our 3rd year last Saturday.
3rd year? Oh, marriage.
3rd year of marriage.
Oh, very nice. Is she waiting here? Is she in Vegas? Did you bring her?
She's with my family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or her family actually.
But here in Vegas.
Here in Vegas. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. So her family's still here.
Yep.
And 3 years marriage. That's awesome.
Yep. No kids. We moved out of Vegas to Houston to start that new company, the American Energy Fund.
Okay.
So the reason why is if you want to learn Spanish, you move to Mexico City, full immersion. If you want to learn oil and gas, you got to move to oil capital of the world. That's Houston, Texas. That's what I did.
That's it, man. Yeah, you got to immerse yourself where the conversation is at.
Yep. And I didn't like move in the suburbs. I moved right in the middle of where the wealthiest people live, which a lot of them are oil and gas people. So there's energy banks and gas companies and oil companies all around where I live. We live in a high rise. It was a dream of mine on my clarity board to live in a high rise one
Did
day.
you have one? Oh, I like clarity board. People say vision board, but clarity is I guess it's a better vision.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that clarity board. How come I've never heard clarity board?
Now, because I made that up.
Oh, that's great. There you go, clarity board. That's it.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
An original. Mikey Lucas. Oh, shit.
Yeah, so the difference in just for the listeners, the difference in a clarity board and a vision board. Everyone says to have a vision board, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
If you have on your vision board, hey, I want to have a house in Point Loma, in San Diego, okay? A clarity board has it's like SMART goals. So you said the main thing is that you have how much it's going to cost you, what the down payment is, what the monthly payment's going to be, and a time frame that you're going to do it in.
I love, a lot of people put goals without a deadline, without a time frame. And I was like, well, what's the difference between the next year or,
it's a dream.
Or 20 years? Yeah, it's just, you really can't feel it like that. The pressure. I love that.
It is hard though. Don't get me wrong. Like it is when you do that, it is uncomfortable, which is why I think people just have vision boards instead of clarity boards.
Got it. But you grew up here. You met your wife here.
Yep. Met my
you guys
wife
went to school here and everything.
Yeah, I was a freshman in college when she was a freshman in high school, and I actually met her in 2020 at my church.
Okay. Where do you guys go to church?
Here in Vegas, it was called Hope Church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I know Hope.
Out in Henderson.
So you were in the Henderson. We go to, me and my wife were married too. We got married a year and a half ago. And we go to the crossing. And this is a big weekend for us. Obviously, Easter, celebration. One of my friends is getting baptized.
No way, that's awesome.
Praise God. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm very, very excited for him. He started coming to church a few months ago. We invited him, and he's feeling the presence. I'm super happy for him. Super happy.
Yeah, no, we've done a little bit of work with the crossings. They had like a high school, college kind of ministry, and I worked with a lot. I was trying to put together almost like a board for all of the churches, which, as you can probably imagine, it was very complicated to do that. Which I was like scratching my head, like, why is different denominations, like, why don't we work with everyone else? There's 86,536 or whatever at that time, 18 to 24 year olds. Why aren't we like trying to like go out and what's our purpose here? Like go and be fed and be fed Christians? It's like, no, we want to.
Is that from your family? Your family had these values instilled in you guys?
Yeah.
How'd you guys meet, you and your wife?
Funny story, actually.
Nightclub?
No, actually, no. So I was heavily involved in the high school ministry here at Hope, and I was doing high school ministry for a long time. And one of the nights I think it was like a Wednesday night or Sunday. I think it was Sunday night, the Sunday night crew, and that's when all like the college and young graduates go, and they're doing like a video testimonial about some girl. It's funny, we're actually passing the situation right now. So she was at the October 1 shooting, and
no kidding.
when she finally got out and got to a room, one of her old friends, her name was Jasmine, was in that room with her, and they were like praying over people and just like comforting everyone, make sure everyone was good.
Oof, that gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, bro, and we're passing right by right now.
People can't see this right now, but right now we're looking at the Mandalay Bay. So where was the concert? Was it here?
Over here, past this, where these two
right in front of us.
Around.
We really are in the exact same location where the incident happened. And the Vegas Strong, that's where it was born.
Yep.
So they were praying over people. And
just like comforting people, praying over them. And then Jasmine just, is a warrior, and she followed up with Ryan and invited her out to church and started discipling her and coaching her. And, she got baptized and started following the Lord and, repented and turned away from her, wicked ways. And, everything was good from there. And then they had a video testimony of her, and I've never seen her.
Right, Ryan?
Ryan, and I'm pretty involved in the church. So it's a big church, but it's not that big of a church. After a while, you pretty much know everybody. And I'm like, wow.
The pretty girls, you have to at least know.
Thank you. Exactly. That is the fact. That is that is how to actually say that's true. The pretty girls, I for sure know. So long story short, I in my head I was like, wow, we are at a point now where we're paying people like fake testimonials. Like I was like, that's kind of weird that we're like paying people to put testimonials because I'd never seen this girl. And then like I remember like probably like 5 or 6 months later, I was going with the college and graduate students to whatever, they went to like Chipotle or something like that, Cafe Rio I think is what it was, and I was going there because I was trying to pursue this guy to disciple him and mentor him, and she was there. And for me at that time it was any girl was like, just get in line. Like I'm not in, not that I wasn't looking, because I really wasn't, but you know, I had to train myself. Being born and raised in Vegas, we wear our sin on our sleeves here. We've got girls in, you know, bikinis and thongs all over all these freaking
Anywhere.
advertisements, you know? And so that was obviously, you know, an issue that I had. And, you know, so I had to really, really go into that self-discipline.
Dig deep. Yeah.
And not pay attention at all and just appreciate women for being, you know, a child of God and a great, beautiful creation. There's nothing, you know, wrong with admiring a woman thinking, hey, you're beautiful, but it was everything after that that was the crazy cycle that I would get into, so I had to stop that.
Okay.
So this girl was there, and whatever, she's in line with us, and the kid was there, the young man was there, and I just, you know, casual conversation, what are you getting? Cool, sweet. I paid no attention to her, and she sat across the table, and I'm like sitting there talking with the kid, with the guy, the young man, and she's just like, you know, like, I don't want to say starstruck, but it kind of felt like that. And I'm like, yeah, cool.
Because
like,
she's seen you, or you guys
no,
have seen
she's never seen me before.
She'd be
Never.
like, that guy.
I think she definitely was, for sure was.
I'm gonna get some of that.
Yeah, so then I ended up obviously, you know, connecting with her and brought her out. COVID hit, so it was.
Oh, that was right before COVID.
No, right in COVID.
Well, during the COVID.
Yeah, during COVID.
I heard this place was like a ghost town because I came in a year later.
Nothing. It was dead.
It
No
looked
lights.
like a movie set.
No, nothing, dude. It was
This is
dark.
crazy.
Yeah, people were riding bikes and driving cars. It was actually pretty cool.
It will never happen again. I mean,
No,
you got to live something that was remarkable in the history of the city.
Yeah. So anyway, so then you know, obviously we started talking and took her out on some dates and, you know, asked her kind of, you know, what her goals are in life and what she's doing and all that kind of stuff. She was going to school to be a nurse and graduating in like a year or whatever it was, and we got closer, and, you know, I was like, hey, I want to be your boyfriend and pursue you and, you know, see where this can go. And I think a year or so later, 2 years later, I was like, I want to be your husband forever. And
did you have a romantic proposal?
right here at the Bellagio, right from the
did
water
you?
show. Yeah, I got the whole
Well,
thing filmed.
you got Sinatra in the background
Yep.
with, you know, with the.
Yep.
That's nice. I mean, how are you gonna beat that?
So
That's nice.
At that time, everyone's gonna be like in the comments and think this is crazy, but at that time I was starting to really build my personal brand. I had basically a camera guy on me at almost all times, and I was just like, you know, screw it. I was listening to Gary Vee, and Gary Vee was like, if you don't have a personal brand in 5 years, you're gonna be irrelevant. I was like, all right. So I was like, I gotta figure this thing out.
Follow you. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I gotta figure it out. So, you know, I had a guy follow me. You know, I told her that I had to go get content for a specific topic down at the Bellagio, and that we were going to go to dinner. My cousin is the head captain at Guy Savoy in Caesar's Palace, 3-star Michelin 5-star Ford's restaurant here in Vegas, and so really nice.
Let's
like,
connect.
Truly fine dining. truly fine dining. And so she got dressed up, and I was like, hey, I have to go down here first. Oscar's going to meet us there. I have to get this clip. Because blah blah blah, like I made up a lie basically that something
She
current
completely was oblivious to it
Yeah.
because you sold it good.
Yeah, but she knew she knew that like this is normal for me to do that.
Correct. That's why she didn't think of anything.
Yeah. And then we're there, and I was like, oh, well, my God, I got basically pretended to film some stuff. I was like, oh, let's watch the show. Oh, look at that, the water show. And got down on one knee and asked her to be my wife. And then like 4 months later, I was like, hey, I'm crazy. I want to move to Houston, start this company. Do you want to get married? Like now. And so we ended up, it was like a COVID wedding, right? So we got married in April. Sorry, in March. Wait, this one was I always get confused. It's in my calendar. Got married.
You should know your wedding date.
Yeah, we got married. Dude, honest to God, it's hard because, bro, we had a small, like 70, 80 person, like, I'm not allowed to call it a wedding. Not wedding at my house. It was really like a birthday party and going away party.
It's
so
at your house because you guys were moving to Houston.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I had all my groomsmen there, and I had my best man officiate us and all that, and we got married in my house.
That's cool.
With just our family, and then we had a big party there, or kind of a 70-person gathering. And then we moved to Houston. And then a year later, we had like a 300-something person wedding here at the Barris Best.
Oh, so you came back and got the wedding.
Yeah. So that's why it's weird, because I just got a bunch of people saying, so March 31st, I believe is what it was the show wedding.
The not wedding wedding.
Our real wedding our wedding anniversary is April 12th.
Yeah, so you just say like the going away party was March 31st.
Yeah. But everyone texts us happy anniversary during that time because that's when they thought we got married.
That's when your best man did his thing and the whole thing. That's really cool, man, that you guys got that stuff. And Yeah, I think when we got married, we did. I think it was 13 weddings in 12 months, and it's because it was like a hold up. There were like 7 weddings.
What year?
We got married in 2023. So whenever COVID, nobody was getting married in 2020, 2021, 2022. So in 2023, we got married at the end, like in October, like in Mexico.
That's
but
awesome.
It was like her sister was getting married, her best friend was getting married, my best friend was getting married. Like every month. By the time we got to our wedding, it was like I felt like a wedding coordinator. I knew what to do. I knew the struggles. I was like, listen, I'm on my 13th wedding in the last 12 months. So it was really cool. But I love like hearing stories about like she really completely trusted you. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, let's go move to Houston. Did you have a business then or no?
Yeah.
I mean,
so I was running
because you were just starting it.
So I was at the time I had 4 different solar companies, 4 different solar brands.
So I wanted to know how that jump went from solar to to oil.
So I'm not a trader in the solar space.
Okay.
So I'm not really in the oil space. I am in the oil space, but I'm not solely oil. Okay. Our American Energy Fund invests into American energy and American energy infrastructure. So oil and gas companies, oil and gas wells, with like Chevron and Shell and ELG, these big companies, and then some small cap and mid cap companies that are like mom and pop companies that have been 5, 6, 7 generations in that that specific area. But the solar stuff was I started solar back in 2013, 2014, or alarms first, and then got into solar right after that. I did a quick summer sales for alarms, which was the worst thing ever. But I was like, I got nothing better to do. As a matter of fact, we're about to pass it over here at the Palazzo. I was sitting outside of the Palazzo after work, and I was bussing tables at a restaurant here, and I was like, man, do I really actually want to, be a waiter at 45, 50 years old like these guys, and like
they get comfortable.
Yeah, make 100, 150 grand a year. That's great money, man. But I was like, I'm young. Like, do I want to spend my Christmases here, my birthdays here, my holidays here? Like, I'm not really free to do what I want. And again, that's what I knew. All my family were, my mom and dad were not entrepreneurs. My dad was a failed entrepreneur and had a sandwich shop in San Diego. It failed, and he had to shut it down, and that's when he moved to Vegas. But so I know, be a good employee, be a good worker, and so that's what I knew. And I was like, man, what else is out there? And I didn't even know. And a buddy of mine called me one day and was like, hey, do you want to go make like 60 grand, 80 grand in the summer? And I was like, doing what? He's like, selling alarm systems. You can come in and we'll give you like a leadership position. And I was like, sure.
He just said, let's get you into a leadership position of something that you've never sold, you had no experience.
Yep.
It's like a hell of a friend. Or he must have known a little bit about your character and your discipline.
Yeah, no, these door-to-door guys, they will recruit any warm body. Any warm body.
You're breathing? Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So door-to-door is a...
And did you make that much money?
No. I think I made... it was like 22 grand, 23 grand, I think is what it was. I think I sold
not
like...
80. That's
no.
Like, that was a...
But it was not bad. I was like, okay, cool, sweet. And at that time, that's when I got introduced to solar, because I knocked on a door, took over an alarm account, an ADT account, and the lady had solar, asked her about it. She's like, yeah, government program, blah, 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 whatever. I didn't put money down, just buying power, and it's $50 cheaper a month. And I'm like, I'm over here selling. This is that corner right here at the very end of this, next to that pink and blue thing at the very end of this. This used to be called Morel Steakhouse. So I'll sit right here at the end of this on the second floor there. Yeah. And after my shift, I would just sit there and wonder about life. I had just gotten sober. Yeah, so I just got sober, so I was like, what am I going to do with my life? And what did the next 10, what did 21-year-old Mikey, what did 31-year-old Mikey look like? And that, at that place right there, that corner right there, I would sit there and just think and like, what am I going to do? Am I going to get married? How many kids am I going to have? What am I going to do for work? My dad worked in the casino business. My cousins all worked in restaurants, and I was like, I could obviously leverage that relationship and go, get a job. That's how I got this job. My cousin got me an interview.
People take pictures of the car.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, we also have the podcast thing in the back. Maybe I forgot to mention to you, shit will go down around here, and it's always like, it becomes like its own character. Well, you had family here, so your dad, you could have leveraged that.
Yep.
But you're sitting there and you're saying like, I'm not gonna do this. I want to go my own.
I didn't mind it, but my brothers did that. But I was like the black sheep. I was like the one that was like the rebellious one that wanted to try different things. So I ended up, going and getting that door-to-door job. And I was like, I didn't think I was going to do door-to-door forever. But, when I got into solar, it was very, very hard. But I knew that energy was a long-term career that I could be in. It's just like nursing,
Okay.
real estate, casinos. You're always gonna have a job, right? And I was like, man, like I didn't want to sell used houses, and I didn't really care to be in the casino business, even though I would be great at it. My dad was a executive casino host, and he basically was paid to help high rollers come and party here at Mandalay Bay.
It's a good job.
Yeah, and it was like everyone said it was perfect for my dad, and I could have done the exact same thing and probably would have done 10 times better than him.
Is your dad still around?
Yeah.
He's still here?
Yeah. And so anyway, so I did that door-to-door thing and came back, started selling solar, and ended up basically getting recruited over to a company called Solar City, which is now Tesla, Elon's company back then. And I just got blessed with being in the number one office of the number one company.
So Solar City became huge, obviously,
Yeah.
and then it got acquired.
Yep.
And the number one office was here in Vegas.
Yeah.
So you were trained by the best, and
The best
this
of the
was
best.
and this was like, I mean, wherever I go, where like the community's here, like I see a bunch of solar panels. I got a few friends that have worked or tried it, and they say it's cutthroat.
It's hard, dude.
That you really have to be good. So
It's hard.
you must have really excelled, but you also were at the beginning. You know, you were
back
at the,
then,
yeah.
we were the founders of it. We were the pioneers of it, the Spartans of it, and it was still a scam.
Great money.
It was still it was really good.
What was your best year?
1.4 million.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, solar. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
There's a lot of young guys that go out there and hustle, and stories like this kind of really help motivate people.
Yeah. That took many years to get to that point, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's if I put in 8 hours at the steakhouse and I put in 8 hours knocking doors, I'm gonna make 4, 5, 6, 10 times more than I would make at this place.
That's the thing. Like the steakhouse has a ceiling. I mean, you can't count them. People giving you 300% tips.
Yeah, I mean you can only seat so many. You can
Yeah.
only seat so many people at a time.
That's pretty amazing. So you grew it fast. So were you having a team that you were now coaching in your
Yep.
leadership, because you're developing? I can hear how well you speak. So obviously you had to get eloquent, and you got that convincing. At some point you went from door to door to training teams to go sell for you.
Correct. Yeah, started at the bottom, worked my way up. I got passed over quite a few times. I wasn't the right religion. Door-to-door guys are usually Mormon. I didn't have a college degree. I was an ex-drug addict. I was very open about that. I was pretty open about that I was a Christian, because I was like, this is my first ministry, Mormons. I was like, this is gonna be great. I love it. And so I got passed up a bunch of times, and I was like, okay, there was like a mountaintop experience. I remember it. It was, I'm going to be so good that they cannot deny me. They cannot ignore me. And at that point, I started really honing in on my identity and just believing. Not that I don't like saying I'm a Christian. I like to say that I'm a red letter Christian, which is whatever Jesus says is what I believe it is. If he says that my sins have been removed as far as the east is from the west, I walk in that. If he says that I have an inheritance that is waiting for me and that I'm royalty, I walk in that. Not in arrogance and a prideful way. I walk in it because that is what he told me that I am. And so hard I believe it's so hard for Christians to believe that, because they're looking internally about how bad they are, and it's like, no, you're either saved or you're not. You're either you're either righteous or you're not. You're either living in the flesh or you're living in the spirit. You can't do both. I can't be single and married at the same time.
Yeah, you can be pregnant and not pregnant
At the exact same time.
Yeah, I love that.
And so that was a hard transition going through, but I really got into identity, and my faith really helped, just with like the service side of it. I really cared about the product, obviously, but the people that I was working with were usually lower middle class and lower class people, and helping them with the $20, $30, $40, $50 a month in savings, $10,000, $20,000 in savings over 10, 20 years. And I just loved that. I was like, I want to put more money back into people's pockets. I really liked the idea and concept around money.
And connecting with communities and lower economic level. So you like the helping others. I think you found some people do it for the money, and other people have a mission behind it.
Most people that do it for the money is why you see burnout. I would have done it all for free. As a matter of fact, at Solar City, we got paid the lowest out of every company.
Do you get poached by other companies?
As in recruited?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you're not getting recruited, you're not doing good enough.
So Solar City got sold when? Were you still working with them or not?
Yep. Yeah, they got bought by Tesla in 2016.
And you're still working with them?
Yep.
do you get shares? Was it just like kicked out? Like
No, we still had shares. We had Solar City shares, and they transferred over, but it wasn't anything crazy. And
you still have the Tesla shares?
Of course I do. I've been buying Tesla shares forever.
You're my favorite person.
So I've had 3
Since
Teslas.
when?
Since technically Solar City was back starting in 2015. They transitioned into Tesla 2016, 2017, and I've been dollar cost averaging Tesla, telling everybody Tesla for years. So yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's surprising because you're in the oil and gas, you know. I didn't know if you were going to be offended by the electric car that we're sitting in right now.
I drive a Tesla, bro. My wife has a Tesla.
We have 3 Teslas too. I love Tesla. There's no denying about that. But this is definitely not a financial advice. Don't be at a stoplight and buy, you know, your mortgage worth of fucking stock.
But in this market right now, currently when we're filming, definitely nice time to get in. I've been dollar cost averaging, you know, on repeat purchases. But also throwing in $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $100 into these companies like Apple and Nvidia and MicroStrategy. I'm not a really big stock guy, but it's like the fun stuff. I have a
strategy now.
I have a very small of my own personal stuff through Robinhood and Charles Schwab, but I have a financial advisor that I was able to negotiate my way in because he doesn't accept people unless you give him $1 million.
To manage your own money?
Yeah, starting out $1 million.
Yeah, you gotta read he must be a friend of yours or someone that you really know and respect because
he's a mentor of mine now.
Oh, there you go. Because I read the very fine print and I was like, listen, I just want like very few selective stocks and I just stay with it because I'm not a trader. I've actually never sold.
You're a buyer and holder.
And
at that point, you don't need a financial advisor.
It's like a 5-year thing. Like,
yeah.
Is whatever I'm buying today going to be worth more in 5 years or not? So was Bitcoin, you know, 5 years ago less? When I started buying it, I was like, yeah, I think it's going to go up. You know what? A lot of times it dipped.
Yeah.
But it's today more than it was 5 years ago.
Way more.
Do I think today it's going to be lower than what it's going to be in 5 years? So yeah, so I'll still buy at 90K, you know, whatever it is right now. Because I think in 5 years it'll be different. The same with Tesla. Those are the two where I'm like, I have a 5-year horizon. I don't plan on dying, you know, but it doesn't matter. Like I do that, you know. Most of the stuff I don't even use. Like I just like being with people that are like-minded.
Yeah.
How did you? So you're going from solar. You're crushing. You're moving. What hit you? You said like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Houston.
Well, the main reason why I sold solar was 2 things. I wanted to lower the divorce rate by helping people with their finances because the biggest reason why people get divorced is because of money and sex. I can't help them with the sex part. I can help them with the money part. The money, they were buying the product anyway. Why not put it on your house, cut out the transmission fees, delivery fees, and buy power for cheaper? It makes sense.
Why divorce? What was that a reason for you?
A lot of reasons, but my parents did get divorced. But the statistics around kids in the system, I've done a lot of work with kids in the system, like adoption stuff, or kids that are like orphans or they're in the system, they don't have parents, right? And my buddies are all like super involved in that. And I started seeing statistics around people that were in jail and these kids where their dad wasn't in the home.
Yeah, they're not that present is a very big marker. People think like school grades, and it was like no. Like was there a family structure where there was a mom, a father, and was he good to her?
Yeah, and it's not perfect every single time, but it is an overwhelming majority. It's like the kids that have autism now. It's 1 in 12 and a half, right? So it's in boys. It's wild. Like the numbers are you cannot ignore. Now. You cannot ignore them, and so everyone wants to talk about it. And I was like, everyone says, oh, you know, the government needs to do this, or the state needs to do that, or this needs to do that, the church needs to do this. And I was like, I'm just going to try to take action on it and try to just at least, you know, I call it occupy all streets. I'm at least going to try to occupy my street and try to influence more people. If I can teach 10 people to do it, and they can go teach 10 people to do it, and eventually we're going to take over this entire thing and, you know, inspire people to live a life on purpose.
So by helping them financially, you're lowering the statistics of them getting a divorce, because money is the number one.
At least that's what I thought it was.
Correct.
That's what I thought I was doing. The second thing was, I really didn't like that we are going overseas for American interests in doing these wars, and fighting over, you know, where all the wars are at. If you look, there's oil and gas pipelines, refineries, and oil fields there. And I was like, I don't want my children or my children's children to have to go to war when we have more than enough energy here. We have all the sun. We've got more than enough oil. We've got more than enough wind. We've got all the uranium you can think of with nuclear. We've got more than enough geothermal. Why isn't somebody doing something about this? And I'm the crazy kid that thinks I can change the world. And I said, all right, well, I'm gonna go take what I've done with scaling businesses and scaling sales offices and companies and operations and all that, and recruiting and hiring and firing, and I'm gonna go see if I can do this, because I really got excited about investing. And I knew real estate, I knew crypto, I knew stocks, bonds, mutual funds, all that. I didn't know what the billionaires were doing, and then I started reading books about what billionaires were investing into, and I found out that 46% of billionaires' portfolios are in alternative assets. And
What is that?
So one of the alternative assets is like energy. So energy is an alternative asset. Technically speaking, a casino would be an alternative asset.
But energy is so broad, like that there's so many things that create energy.
Did you
Solar,
know,
wind.
Did you know that you can buy an oil
oil.
and gas well right now?
That I can do what?
You can buy an oil and gas well right now?
A well?
Yeah.
I personally?
Yeah,
or
did you know that?
no, I don't think I knew that.
Right, but you can buy Chevron stock, right?
Well, I know that, yeah.
Right. So most people don't know that. And so that's why I was like, it felt like I was like Robin Hood, where I was going to go and take from the rich and give it back to my people and give them the opportunity, and it's worked out very nice.
So what you're saying, I can buy like a portion of a well is by buying stock from Chevron, is what you're saying.
You can. So if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I don't have a lot of money, I don't have 50, 100 grand, 200 grand to go put into oil and gas wells or pipelines or refineries or whatever, you can start just like in real estate. And I teach this all the time. I always tell people, it's kind of like a thing I say on whenever I'm doing like financial trainings with companies, or if I'm speaking or whatever. If I could give you, if I could show you how to get passive income today with real estate with as low as $1, how many of you would want to know how to do that within 30 days? How many of you guys want to know how to do that?
Yeah,
okay,
all
awesome.
hands should go up.
All the hands go up. Like, all right, cool. You go to Robinhood, you go to your brokerage account, and you buy a real estate investment trust, a stock.
Like a REIT?
A REIT, exactly. And there's companies, like as an example, and I'm not like affiliated with these guys and whatever, but I've invested in them and they've been paying out. They do it on a monthly basis, realty income, ticker's O. And if you put in $100,000, you're going to start receiving, $300, $400, $1,000, $2,000 a month.
Passively. Can you take out the money, or is it locked in?
No, it's a
all
stock.
your investment?
Yeah, it's a stock. You can buy it, you sell it, trade it, whatever you want. Day trade it.
So is that the same with energy?
Well, with energy stocks, yes. So if you want to get into and you want to start creating passive income now, just buy a real estate investment trust.
Yep.
Go buy real estate, realty income. Go buy SL Green. There's a bunch of them. Go research and understand what they own. They own buildings like this. They own U-Haul buildings, storage units.
Yeah, they're doing the
these
research. They're doing the.
They're the ones that are the
money.
professionals.
Correct.
Give them your money, and they'll pay you a small fee, or they'll pay you a small. You're a partner with them basically. You're buying a publicly traded company, and so start there. And then I was like, okay, what's next? I'm doing this. Now what? Well, the next step up is actually investing into the company on the private side. And so now we own wells with Chevron. So I own Chevron stock, and I own a well. I'm a partner with Chevron.
One well that is co-owned by Chevron, and you guys are part of that.
Correct.
from your company.
Correct. It's a few wells, but it's a package of wells. But yeah, it's not just Chevron, but we have it in our portfolio. We have Chevron wells, EOG wells, and that's some of the bigger names. But
Speaking of God, look at those clouds in the light.
oh, that's wild.
That's
it's
Easter,
beautiful.
man.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, I wish you guys could see what we were just seeing right now. It looks like the light of.
Vegas nights, baby.
Yeah, that's absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
So, help me reconcile this. So, you're obviously well versed in both solar, Tesla, electric,
Yep.
yet you're also investing in oil, which is really like the opposite.
Countercultural.
Yeah.
To the naked eye. But in
But
reality,
both energies.
the billionaires, these massive companies, they're actually the oil Shell energy, like Shell gas stations.
Yeah.
They own a power company that is 100% solar in Texas.
So Shell also, okay, so they're
Shell,
they have the
Chevron,
umbrella.
all
okay.
these companies own and invest into solar. It's not because they want to be green, it's because they want the money.
because they know where that money is going.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I just said, okay, I'm gonna invest like a billionaire, not like a millionaire.
So own the whole pie.
Yeah.
Isn't it like the same as for batteries? I think like Duracell and Energizer, they're owned by the same company.
Yeah. A lot of the drug companies, yeah, a lot of them.
They're competitors, and you think, oh, I'll just get the competitor, but it's owned by a same corporate umbrella.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. So, when you moved there, how did you find your own research about,
Where to go and all
wells? Yeah, like how did you partner up with Chevron?
Connections, man. Working my way into rooms, and I read every book that I could find on private equity, investing, raising capital. I already knew the sales side. The sales thing is very easy. If you can sell door to door, and I did it for 10 years, you can sell door to door. You can sell pretty much anything, right? And so the sales side, I understood that, and it's the exact same pitch when I was selling solar at the table at the kitchen table with the homeowner. It's the exact same pitch when you invest into oil and gas or into our fund. It's, hey, hedge against inflation, diversifying your portfolio, above average returns, investing like a billionaire, not like a millionaire, investing into things that you're using right now. You go to the gas station, you fill up your gas, you can now buy a well that's producing that gas.
So you feel good paying that extra Chevron price.
Exactly.
But you're also giving into your own company. That's smart. I feel great when I, if I buy something that I'm invested in.
Yeah. Apple, if you own an Apple iPhone, you've had since I had the 3GS, if you're not buying Apple stock with that, and you buy a new phone every 2-3 years, my wife is every year, you buy a new phone every 2-3 years, 4 or 5 years, why aren't you buying $1,000 in Apple stock if you're buying $1,000, $2,000 phone?
Or $90 like those little headphones or whatever, the AirPods.
I just heard the other day a mentor of mine, and I actually just interviewed him this morning, Dan Fleischman. He actually told us, he spoke on stage yesterday too. He said that if AirPods were a company, they'd be like the 9th largest company. AirPods.
That's crazy.
Bro, I was like,
because they must be so inexpensive to make and so freaking expensive to buy.
And I always lose them.
All the time. You lose one, you gotta buy two.
I can't live without them. I use them so much.
Yeah.
It's like, I actually like using them in the car. I'll have one in the car. I typically like to do that, but.
And you lose one, you get another one. So that was the genius of not just like Steve Jobs was like, to me, like a great founder and an innovator and a creator, but the CEO now, he is more like, how can
Steve
I make
Wozniak? I think is what is that?
No,
Steve
Wozniak was the co-founder of Apple. Right now is Tim Cook.
Tim Cook, you're right.
Who used to be the CEO of Pepsi.
Yeah.
And he comes from full corporate. How do we make more money? He's the one that turned from a product to a software. So he's the one where like, let's just charge these guys $9.99 for anything.
Yeah. Storage on their phones.
I used an iPhone for a year. I've always been a Google guy, Google Pixel.
Yeah, I had an Android for a while too.
But I didn't want to be like content prior to investigation. So I got so much hate about the green bubble, and I made so many videos about Google Pixel. Yeah. Those got so much hate, and I loved it.
They're great phones, dude.
Finally, I got the iPhone, whatever last year's, but iPhone Pro was, whatever, 15, or I don't even remember the number, but I got it for a full year. I changed back this year, so whatever, 3 months I've been back on my Google Pixel, and I'm still getting charged that $10 from Apple. Like I see, I was like, I'm like, don't they know I don't even have the phone anymore? That I switched out of it, and I'm sure there's a way where I can do it. I gotta find the phone.
Just log into your
charge
iCloud,
it.
Go to iCloud.com, log into your iCloud account, and then you can go in and delete.
And
the
it used to be
subscription.
two $9.99s, but anyways, like I'm not talking smack. But what I'm saying is like, Tim Cook was a genius in changing the model to a software revenue model, which this is what full self-driving will do. Do you have FSD on your cars?
Yeah.
What models do you have?
A Model X, and my wife's got a Model Y Performance.
Got what year?
I've got a 19. She just got the 25.
Oh, nice. So she's got a hardware 4, so she can get FSD 13.
Yeah, hers is unbelievable.
Yeah, the performance Y?
Yeah, the self-driving is unreal.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I use it all the time.
I do too.
I don't drive.
I do too, and it's hard to explain to people that never sat. Even though I watch, every day I probably watch 2 hours of videos and stuff on full self-driving and Tesla, but you see it, and it's not until you're behind the car, and I see a car cutting me off, and my instincts is to slow down and turn left, and the car slows down and turns left, where I'm like, oh my god, I just moved it with my mind. It's so frequent that happens that I'm stunned that people don't realize that in Austin in June, full self-driving is kicking in. which I plan on going, by the way. You live closer. I don't know if you plan on going and taking a robo taxi there and a cybercab, but I just want to go and experience the cybercab, and because I personally have invested money into it, and I believe in the product, and I love it. And
yeah, I love Elon, man. People used to call me Tesla boy.
Tesla fanboy.
Because that's all I talked about. But back then, he was the largest, most shorted stock in the entire world.
Insane. Right now it's the same price as 2021. Like, the stock is the same in 2025 April, right now when you guys are watching this, as it was in 2021. Just look at it, and you cannot say that the stock is the same where it is. Like, the actual company is leagues ahead of where it was 5 years ago.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Did you know that Tesla had opened up their first lithium refinery?
I know they're opening out lithium fire because they're doing their own batteries, 4860s.
I shouldn't have doubted that. Most people didn't know that.
Yeah, they're 4860s because they can't. So this is huge. Most people have no idea. Like, yeah, they're gonna be their own battery company. They got a dojo, and we can geek out on a full episode, you and I separately on Tesla. If they call you a Tesla boy, yeah, like I get a lot of hate. My wife's family is, let's just say, they're not in favor of Elon. So on Christmas, they gave, we do this white elephant or whatever, Secret Santa, whatever it's called, and everybody gets a random gift, and they gave me a toilet paper with the face of Elon so I can wipe.
It's messed up. Hey man,
I thought it was hilarious.
It's comedy, that's fine.
I thought it was really funny, so I didn't take offensive. I mean, I don't take things personally. Rule 62. But I thought it was funny, like whatever, and I know things are going on right now, but it is incredible that they're doing that. So is that the same concept as you're saying, that they're expanding into? Most people are like, why are they going to refinery of, if they're supposed to be a car company when they call it a car company?
Well, if you can bring stuff in house and you could lower the cost by 10 times, why would you not do that? It's more profit for the company. It's a smart move.
Vertically integrated.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's another company that's doing what they need, so they go out of necessity. It's not like they want to be like, you know what, I'm going to get into the refinery.
They're doing it
we need to do this because nobody else is doing it at the scale that we need to. I'm super excited for the future. I know times are turbulent.
Man. It is. No, we have a very good economy.
Abundance ahead is to me like, prosperity, God first, a good. It seems to me that you have a good, solid relationship with your wife.
Yeah.
Trust each other, and do you guys miss Vegas?
Of course.
Yeah.
How do you not love this? I mean, look at the in probably in a couple of minutes. These are all going to be orange and purple clouds. This is going to be the most beautiful sunset. I love Vegas, and we would come down here. I only lived a mile and a quarter from here, and I mean, this is my favorite time of the day, where it's sunset, but it's still light out, and all the lights are on. Like, look at all the clouds, man. They're orange and you'll see purples here. So, oh, dude, this is...
I love that you're saying this because I picked the time exactly for that reason. So it's the transition between like the daylight towards the sunset, and most people that don't live here, when they get in the podcast, they all of a sudden they start looking around, and I just see their excitement, and I was like, isn't this amazing? Like, look at this. Look at where we are. We're in the most beautiful, vibrant cities in the world, and we're in a freaking podcast right now in a Tesla. just like chatting away, getting to know people, talking business. It really blows people's minds. And when they've never been in a Tesla sometimes before, I just ask, hey, do you mind if I punch it? And they're like, punch what? And I take off it. Oh shit!
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now you know what it's like, but most people have never been in a performance Tesla.
Yeah.
They're like, I cannot believe it. I had a lawyer. He's a personal injury lawyer. He's like, do it again. I was like, bro, you don't want me to get into an accident? Can you get 100? I was like, for sure I can get to 100 in like maybe 4 or 5 seconds.
Don't blink.
2.9 under 60 under 3 seconds. 2.9 the performance.
Wow.
But even the lawyer who's supposed to be like, drive carefully, he was just so jacked up. He was like excited for it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I really love the city, man. One of the very, very first guests that I had in the podcast, we're still figuring out how it worked. I had like little lapels, and it was just like, sometimes like the cameras would like turned off, and I wouldn't know what to do. I mean, it's all comes from experience, but I think it was my second or my third guest. It was a guy who I really follow from Vegas, and he owns an account in Vegas where it's all about Vegas. So new things are opening up, new restaurants, people, and his name is Leo, and I just messaged him. I was like, bro, like I would love to, pick your brain about the city. He was just like so in love with the city, so inspiring, and he dubbed himself the CEO of Las Vegas. He's just like, I'm just in the middle of everything, and I still follow the guy like for whatever he does. So shout out to you, Leo, for this stuff, man. It really is like an awesome city. I don't want you to miss it too much.
This is home, man. This city made me. This city made me. The city broke me, and the city remade me.
Can we talk about your struggles with the personal?
Sure, of course.
Because you said you were open about that.
Absolutely.
So you said drugs, so I don't know if you saw. We've seen a few people are tweaking out already, on the streets, and it's rampant. What was it like for you?
So, I used to use drugs socially, and then I started using drugs solutionally. And at that time, obviously, I wasn't following the Lord, and I wanted I was always wearing like $1,000 worth of clothes because I my identity was deeply rooted in the value of what I had, because we were the poorest people in a middle class neighborhood, and so my neighbors, general manager at Mercedes-Benz had a G-Wagon. My other neighbors to the left of us, quads and go on vacations, and my dad still owns a 92 RV.
That's cool though.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It is the coolest thing ever, actually.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
But
that's a flex now.
It is. But I was hanging out. I would hang out with my neighbors all the time, and they'd always go out to dinner, and I'd get to go with them, and I was like, this is cool. One of them was they worked for one of them, the wife worked for the Fertitas, and the other guy, the dad did insurance, and made really good money, and I got to see kind of like what that kind of looked like, and I got to taste what spending money looked like. Now at that time, that was like 2006, 2007, and then 2008, everyone pretty much around us lost their house, lost everything.
Yeah, that was
and my dad
that was a lightning bolt for everybody.
My dad did one of those I told you so moments, which was rightfully so.
To them or to you?
To me.
Saying like, hey, don't put these guys work hard kind of thing.
He didn't. It wasn't. He didn't say I told you so, but it was, again, just to make it short. It wasn't I told you so moment. It was, how can we learn about? Yes, that's fine to go out. There's nothing inherently evil with having a Ferrari or a multi-million-dollar house or a Rolex or having a Tesla. Like, there's nothing inherently evil with that. Every good gift comes from above. Right, and your ability to not be owned by those things, but to own them, is the key. For me personally, that's what I truly believe. But that made me realize why my parents were sacrificing what they were doing, because they were buying real estate properties. Their goal was to have a real estate property in each for each kid, and so we were blessed to be able to go on a vacation a year, and we would drive our RV.
Get the RV?
Yeah, drive our RV and go to Utah or go to San Diego, and we would my dad would always make all the food and all the stuff, and later on in life, I had a conversation with my dad, and he realized he's like, it took him a long time to get here, but he was like, I wish I would have rented a couple more jet skis instead of like once every 5 years. So I wish we would have done a little bit more stuff and invested into experiences, rather than just trying to save, because at that time everything was going very, very well for us, for our family, and then all of a sudden, boom, the entire economy collapsed, and it put a lot of stress on my family. That's actually when my family broke up, and that's when I got really bad into drugs. I got hurt, and I was a 3-sport athlete, football, baseball, and wrestling.
How old were you?
16 years old, 17 years old.
Okay, so you're a fragile mind state right there.
Oh, dude.
Broken parents, broken body, and a broken relationship between them. Yeah, that's an easy target for drugs.
I wanted to go pro in baseball, and I was like, man, I got to heal, but I got to play. I can't be injured, so I was starting to take painkillers, and and then it was like, oh, well, we've got some painkillers. Why don't we take them and go out and do dance parties, and you can dance all night because you can't feel your legs. And it's like, it's true.
Raves?
No, like our own house parties.
I see.
Yeah, we would throw parties all the time. And then it was, I don't really want to be at school, so screw it, let's take pills now. And then, eventually it got up to, 400 to 600 milligrams of Oxycontin a day.
Oh, okay.
And,
So you were crushing.
Yeah, I was taking a lot. I mean, that's like 4 of a back surgery person's prescription. And I was completely taken over by it. And, that's why I have a soft spot for people that are, that are using drugs and abusing drugs, because, it's like alcohol, man. Most people, they drink socially, and then eventually they drink solutionally, and that's what they know to go to. And I didn't want to end up like, people on the street, right? Like, I wanted to honor my mom, I wanted to honor my dad, I want to honor our family name. And unfortunately, my family is mostly alcoholics, and so that's why I don't drink. Not that I don't drink, but I do drink. I had a shot of tequila last night with everybody. It was like, the end of the end of the event, and it was like a really small one. But anyways, I'll drink alcohol, but I needed to find a purpose in my life that was bigger than me, that would make me like worth living, because I didn't want to live at that time. Tried to commit suicide a few times. I didn't think I was valuable enough, and it really was the enemy saying, you Mikey are going to be so good. I'm going to show you how not worthy you are of any of the calling that God has put on your life. And that's when I started using drugs, really, really wild. I got, dumped by my high school sweetheart, and at that point I was like, life is over.
Where are your siblings in all this?
I unfortunately brought both my brothers into it. One of them got sober, and I got both of them into it. And
are they younger or
older? I'm the youngest boy.
And you're the one who fed them up. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was like I had to one up my older brother and a one up the other brother, because it was like that's just kind of what the Lucases were known for.
So there's 3 boys.
Yeah, 3 boys and a younger sister. And so I mean, I guess the long story short was, I didn't do a 12-step. I did a 1-step, because a 12-step I would have killed myself. I did a 1-step. I
turn it over to God.
Yeah, sacrificed my life. I picked up my cross and said, God, if my life is worth it, show up, because I don't think it's worth it. And the craziest thing happened to me, dude. This is not like a normal thing that people get unless you're like overseas, because that stuff happens over there a lot. But I started getting dreams 3 nights in a row, and at the time, using that much Oxycontin, synthetic heroin, you don't dream. And I got these like very vivid dreams of like places where it was almost like Scrooge McDuck, like the Christmas one where he kind of brings him through parts of his life. It felt exactly like that. I couldn't see God, but it was like a super, like I could feel the presence of like something. It was almost like wind almost. It wasn't a touch, but it was like wind and a bright light to my right. And he brought me through. There was a couple times where, as an example, sitting at a stoplight right here, there was one time where I have no idea why, but I was sitting at a stoplight. My buddy was to my right, Jonathan, and we were just cruising down Rampart, and I looked up. It was green. I went, and car came right past me. Looked back up. It was still red. I have no idea what happened. I have no idea why I went, but it was green to me. I don't know why.
So you thought it was green?
I thought it was green, and a car was coming down Alta.
Yeah.
And 35, but they were going 55 probably.
Yeah. They would have T-boned you.
And I would have been dead, bro. It'd be right on me. I would have been dead. And there was moments like that where God showed me where he was like, I've been with you this whole time, bro.
I've
been with you this whole entire time. Let me show you that I've had you this entire time. You thought that I wasn't here, but I've been with you. And it was super humbling.
Were you not a believer before?
No, I was. I mean, it's kind of hard to look at science and the physiology of the body and not believe in intelligent design.
Correct.
Like even Dawkins says that there's got to be some sort of intelligent design.
It's
very hard to believe in science.
Behind it.
It's very hard to believe we came from nothing. I believe that God did do the Big Bang. That's when he said, "Let there be light," dog. Like that was the Big Bang. You're right. And it's funny because now science is coming out and it's like,
they're merging for the first time.
Finally,
science and religion.
I actually believe in science. Because I'm a Christian doesn't mean I don't believe in science.
Yeah, they're merging for the first time, and it's just a matter of like someone's like, we've known all along that there is a creator. That can't just be spontaneous nothing.
Yeah.
Something say, you know what? let this happen.
Yeah, but they, I understand why, a lot of these agnostics or atheists or anti-religion people, or the D-church, they like to call them as well, why they don't want to follow God or follow religion or church is because it is do good and maybe you get into heaven. Like, that is what Islam is. Do good and maybe you get into heaven.
No, God says, like, you repent, you'll get into heaven.
Yeah.
So you are 16, you started doing drugs for how many years?
16, 17, 18, 19. Got sober at 20, moved to San Diego, lived with my cousin. My cousin saved my life, let me come in, live rent-free. I just did like work around his house.
Where at in San Diego? I lived there for 12 years.
Point Loma.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And that's where my family's from, is San Diego.
Okay. I'm a
dad's from-
619er. You saw my number.
Yeah. All day.
I didn't grow up in San Diego. I grew up in Mexico, but
Yeah.
that's where I moved to from Mexico to San Diego.
San Diego's a great place, man. So I moved out there. I just started smoking a lot of weed and surfing every day. I was working at In-N-Out Burger and just like going out, sitting on the beach, and like actually had calmness and was looking out at the water. It's like very hard to look out at the water and be like, there is no God. And I was sitting there, and I'd go to these, like, I would like frequent a few different beaches, and there was these two dudes, and they were like super old, long white hair, rode longboards, and basically like introduced me to God, and within, talked to me about my value and what, like, they basically like prophesied in my life, told me who God said I was about myself. And
These random guys?
Random guys, yeah. And it was
a trip.
And it's like I went back to those beaches and never saw those guys ever again.
So they were just there to pivot you into a different life.
And then within a week, I was at In-N-Out Burger, and I saw this group of people, and I was like, I didn't have any friends, and I was like, outside, I was doing I like to do the, everyone likes to be on the inside in In-N-Out. I like to be able to roam around free and wipe down the tables and do the trash and, stuff like that. And so I was outside in San Diego at In-N-Out, and there's these people hanging out, and they were talking, and I kind of, my wife and I would call it dripping when you're listening to people. I was dripping, and I was listening to these people, and I was like standing there but away from them, not knowing, if they heard me or not. Mm-hmm. And then one of the dudes, Gabe, actually saw me and came back in. He was like, hey man, like, what do you do on like Tuesday nights? And I was like, I'm just like, work. He's like, well, I mean, we're having a party if you want, free pizza, and there'll be girls there, and it's this church thing if you want to come out, hang out with us. I'll introduce you to all the guys.
He actually said, like, it's a church party, like,
yeah.
out of nowhere, this random?
Not necessarily a party. He's like, it was a young, like, they were throwing a party. It was like a big, one of their bigger events.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we're throwing a party, and there's pizza, a bunch of people there, meet a bunch of the guys, we'll meet some girls there, everybody hang out. And I was like, sure. And so I went out there, it was on the top parking lot
awesome.
of this place, and ended up going and getting connected with those guys. And that was when I had those dreams a couple weeks later. And I was like, all right, God. I was sitting on the beach in San Diego after those guys told me that, and within that time frame, I literally said, God, okay, if you are real, show me you're real.
Oof.
And be very careful if you do that, because he will come through. And he did, and it was not how I wanted it to happen. Obviously, I wanted it to be really nice and all that stuff, but it was a very interesting. Like, I was like, God, like, if you are, I will 100% go with you.
Follow you.
Yeah.
So you had a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
Full on.
Mind you, let me back up. About a month or two before that, I had about an ounce and a half in the car, and I was already on strike 2 with the law. Thank God my mom had really good connections with lawyers, and they got everything kind of, removed, or, he's going, I was trying to be a firefighter, I was in Fire Explorer, I was in college, whatever. He's going to stay clean, Your Honor. Okay, cool, strike 2. Hey, it's a mess up, it's okay. Please forgive him. He's on the straight and narrow. He's good. I got caught with weed twice after high school, and so I was already on strike 2. I had a little over an ounce of weed in my car, and I was at a football party, and some guys that I played football with here, they went to San Diego State, and of course I got to show up with weed because I'm like, I got to be somebody that's cool and bring some weed. And at
San Diego State,
yep.
You'd be a very popular person.
And the problem was that there was construction. And so I had no idea where I was at. There wasn't there was Google Maps, but it was not that good. Yeah. And I was like, okay, go the way you came. The way I came was a one-way street. And guess what just so happened to be at the end of the street? A cop. So
Oh.
a cop pulled up on me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go to prison now. I'm done. That was strike
Yeah,
3.
just
I'm
third
over.
strike.
I'm a 19, 20-year-old kid. I'm going to go to prison now. I'm screwed. Everything, all of those charges are now going to be all of that, plus I have weed on me. I'm screwed. I'm done. Literally the blue light prayer. God, if you save me from this, I swear on everything, my life, I will dedicate to you. Please get me out of this. And I really meant it.
The 911
The
God.
911 God, and it, for me, fortunate enough, the cop, I had a Las Vegas, the Las Vegas plates,
Yeah.
the LV, it says LV and then like 4 numbers. When he was putting it in, he wasn't putting in the LV, he was just putting in the 4 numbers. And within enough time, he got called to go somewhere else. And you know what's funny? I was like a flow state. He said, "What are you doing down here?" And it's obviously, I smelled like weed and alcohol. I wasn't drinking, but I smelled like weed. I had weed in the car.
Yeah.
They were smoking, blunts.
You were high.
Yeah,
You were high.
Yeah. And I was like, "Hey, man, I was with the football guys, and I was telling them about Jesus, and I'm just leaving. I'm not from here, but I do live here now. So obviously, I'm going the wrong way. I am super sorry, but he's like, have you had anything to drink tonight? No. Smoke? No. I was like, they were smoking, but I wasn't smoking. I don't smoke. I'm a Christian and Jesus, whatever. I was just flowing out.
Yeah.
And he couldn't put in my plates right.
Oh my God.
And eventually he got called to go somewhere else, gave me my stuff back, and was like, cool, get on your way, just go this way. And that's when those guys with the white beards and the super long white hair happened, and then the Gabe thing happened with Young Life, and then started getting connected. And then my dad came back out in December, was like, hey, your brother's sober, your oldest brother's sober, will you come home? And I'm like, Dad, I can't come home. All I know here is drugs. I can't come home. I'm not ready yet.
So your brother has already gone through the shitter and
Yeah.
then started getting sober. Your
Yeah.
dad calls you back, but you're like, no, I don't want to go to Vegas.
But I ended up coming back, and my brother got sober, which was awesome. And one of my buddies showed me how to go back to those places, because I was also, at the time, a street pharmacist. I was a drug dealer. I'm stealing. And
Look, we're passing a pharmacy. I was like, street pharmacist.
yeah, I was a street pharmacist. And so that was my first experience in sales. And I was like, I can't go back. All I know is what I know about these places. Every time I go back to this place, I'm going to realize, this guy, we did this here, we did that there, whatever, right?
All the triggers, what they say.
Yeah, everything. All the triggers, exactly. Just the smell of rain for like 3 years after that would make me want to smoke pills. And I was smoking pills, by the way. I wasn't taking them. I was smoking them.
Wow, okay. So you were really...
Yeah, it was deep, and I was eventually, getting into heroin and all that stuff. So it was pretty crazy. But he said to go back to those places, stand there in a power position with your hands on your hips, and basically say, I am free. I am free. You no longer control me. And I did that to like all these different places around the city where I had
You were going
Yeah.
and doing the power pose
Yeah.
and shouting out basically that you are
out
free.
loud. Yeah. I'm in control.
That's
I am
powerful.
free. I'm in control. I am free. I am the voice.
I learned a lot of the I am stuff from Brian Tracy.
Yeah, dude.
He's the guy that like, I am responsible.
Yeah.
I love myself. I am. And wow, that's powerful. And at
Yeah.
that point, you stopped completely,
Completely.
and you never went back.
Never went back. No. Actually, I had a relapse.
Uh-huh.
So that was December. I moved back January. I had a relapse in March for a week because it was really hard. I went from selling drugs, making $5,000, $10,000 a week to minimum wage working at my other cousin's restaurant as a dishwasher, and then a line cook, and so on and so forth.
The ego kicked in.
Oh, bro, I'm making $7.25 an
Don't
hour
you guys
right
know
now.
who I am? You
Don't
know how
you
much
know-
money I've made?
You know what I mean? And I'm Money Mike.
You know the...
Put some respect on my name. And no, it was humbling, and it was God teaching me, hey man, don't you worry. Be faithful in the little, and you'll be faithful in much.
You heard of the acronym of the ego? You edge God out.
Yeah, man.
When you live in ego, you're edging God out, and you have to make a choice. You want to be a host to God or a hostage to your ego.
Oof.
And I have to ask myself that question every morning. Do I want to be a host to God or a hostage to my ego?
Wow.
And yeah, it's difficult. We're humans. We're flawed. But those stories I love hearing because a lot of people, some people you guys might be watching, you might be struggling, and even if it's not you, it could be a family member, it could be a neighbor, it could be your parents, and I guess that there's always hope, you know, as long as you're breathing, you know, there's hope. I think that little thing must have died, the little thing, but we're coming up onto the last thing. Oh snap, that's like brighter than hell.
This works, I got you.
There you go. And so yeah, like stories like that are powerful, because most people, when they get into this car, and thank you for sharing that part of the story, is they just see like, oh, you know, I live in a high rise, you know, Chevron is my partner on the well, you know, I have a beautiful wife.
Easy for him to say.
But they don't know, like, you were one ticket away from having a complete different life.
Bro, ticket? I already got pulled over.
Yeah, you were. The guy was writing it out almost. He messed up on the license plate. And, you know, there's a book, I don't know if you've ever read it or heard about it. It's called The 5 People You Meet in Heaven.
No.
And when you ask a person, you know, the 5 people you meet in heaven, who do you think is going to be? They go like, well, my mom, my wife, the kids and everything. But the book talks about, like, you die and then there are people there that pivoted your life. That you didn't even know that 60 years ago, that cop, you know, went somewhere else, but had he given you a ticket, your whole life would have been a completely different thing. You and I would never be sitting here. You would not be married. You would not be talking about what we're talking about. And everything just changes. And in my life, I've had many things where, like, you know what, I'm gonna have this master's degree. I want to do this, and then all of a sudden somebody says, like, you know, you're good at planning parties. You should go for, you know, event management, you know, degree. I was like, is there such a thing, like an event management? Is that like throwing parties? Like, yeah, but more like in corporate. You plan events for. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. Which led me to a job, which led me to Pepsi, which led me to LA, and like, but that person just sharing that. And, you know, a couple years later, she got cancer and passed away. But and I think about now, and I always think, like, I think she's one of my 5 people that I'll meet her in heaven. Even though she's not the closest person in my life, but she just said something enough which nudged me into a different rail. And you know how they say, like, you take a plane from New York to San Diego and you just divert by like a couple of degrees. You know, you'll end up, you know, in a completely different territory if you just nudge by a little bit on the long term. And I think that's kind of what happened with you. You were kind of nudged a little bit, and if we were able to fast forward your life in 20 years, you'd be much further ahead than when you are now. You know, I believe that's, you know, if you continue this path, obviously. And that's really cool, because it was just like small kind of degrees of changes that kind of take you into this new...
The small compound effect.
Into this new way of life, man. And yeah, Vegas is amazing. I mean, we got people waiting in line.
There's so many people here, dude.
To take a picture of the Las Vegas sign right now.
We're around some multi-million-dollar private jets right here.
Yeah, we're at the private hotel.
Beautiful golf courses. This city is amazing, dude.
I think it's basically because I saw some signs. I don't know if you saw WWE.
Is that what it is?
This weekend, yeah.
Oh.
So
it's a big crowd.
Super. They hadn't had this WWE here, or WrestleMania. I
remember, back in the day, I used to go to that.
Many years ago, they had WrestleMania here in Vegas.
At the Orleans.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I definitely was not here, but I interviewed a couple of guys that were. One of them was a professional wrestler in the past, and he's done stuff. And to get a freaking guy who was a 6 foot something big guy in this car, and he brought his friend who was back there. I was like, oh my god, this is not a 2 people podcast. The poor guy's like, can I get in here? And he's getting in there, and I had a blast with those guys. It was a great episode. But they were telling me, the life of being a wrestler, you know, and all that stuff. But I've had the pleasure of interviewing, really fun people, and I mean, I think I agree with everything you said, man. From personal values to being saved to success to investing. That you said some crypto stuff. I mean, it's all good stuff, man. It's all really, really great stuff. We're really blessed. I want to give a shout out to Heather, who connected us. Heather, do you want to say something to Heather? We'll make a clip for her.
Yeah, Heather's been doing my PR for me. It's a company called Publicity for Good, and I've used a lot of PR firms in the past. Invest and bring $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month into my social media brand and all that stuff. And I should have used them years ago when I first met her in 2020 or 2019 rather, and I should have used their company But for whatever reason, I just was like, nah, I'm gonna use somebody else. And now, I'm gonna do it myself. So I've already done all that. I did all the do-it-yourself stuff and the ChatGPT stuff and how to, have a Wikipedia. And you can Google Mikey Lucas, and you Google The Rock, you can Google Mikey Lucas, it looks the same. It's like you got Mikey Lucas photos and all that stuff, and like I'm an influencer, but Heather is positioning me as an influence, credible, and authoritative in the investment energy space, and all I have to do is swing for the fences and not forget the bat.
Ah, that's a great line, man. I love it. Well, there you go, Heather. A big shout out for you. And I was supposed to have her on the podcast like a few weeks back, and we just didn't connect. She was here, I was there, and whatnot. But I love that she connected us, man. You usually this came out of nowhere, so it was really fun. How long are you gonna be here?
So my birthday's tomorrow. We have
my
cousin's wedding tomorrow, and then we're gonna do like a little. I haven't seen my mom. I haven't seen anybody.
You got a wedding and a birthday tomorrow?
Yeah.
You haven't seen your mom this last couple of days since you're here?
The event's all day nonstop. I mean, I'm here for the event.
Yeah, there you go.
And it just so happened that the wedding is the same time, and then my birthday. So Saturday I'm gonna be with my family. This is my third podcast today. I had 2 lunches, 2 dinners yesterday. Was up till 6:30 a.m. yesterday. Had my first podcast this morning at 10. And so it's like my family's like, my family's like, are we gonna see you? I'm like, hey, here's a screenshot of my calendar. Like, Saturday is the only day that I have open. I'm here for this event. I'm here to, go out and speak and network and blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah. And so I leave Saturday, and it's sad to go back home to Houston, but I'm excited to be here, and the beautiful sunset that we just had, and an awesome conversation here. And
yeah, it was super fun meeting you, man. So wedding is on Friday. You're leaving on Saturday. Yep. You already got your suit up and everything for tomorrow.
I brought 3 suits. More
just,
suit every day. Just
in case, do you and your wife match? Does she wear a suit that matches your?
Oh yeah.
Her dress match your suit,
or something in her outfit. Yeah.
That compliments and the looking good.
Of course.
Where's the wedding at?
Death Valley, I believe. So it's a little bit far out.
Got it.
About an hour and a half out. We got to drive out there.
Are you guys dancers? What kind of wedding is it?
I mean, I'm a dancer. My wife's not really a dancer, but I'm a dancer, absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like you and I would have been like really good friends here, and probably would have gotten in a lot of trouble, growing up here. Do you still have any friends from back in the day here?
Oh yeah.
Are they good?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most of them are, and one of the reasons how I was able to stay sober was because somebody needed to show my friends that my sphere of influence back then that we could stay sober and still not be a square, not be a quote unquote loser.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, you're sober, you're not fun anymore.
Oh no, dude, I have so much fun. It's not even funny. People think I'm drunk all the time. I'm like, I'm not drunk. I am grateful that I'm not in prison. I'm grateful that I'm not told when I can poop, pee, and have work out. I am so abundantly grateful that I get to do what I do on a daily basis, and that is the foundation of the lifestyle of freedom that I live. I walk in my freedom. I just don't use it for selfish gain. I use it to not just further the kingdom, but to glorify God. Just like I wanted to respect my dad and honor my father, I do that for the kingdom, and turning my 5 talents into 10, my 2 talents into 4, and not be the guy that held the 1 talent and hid it. And Jesus said to him in that parable, "Flee from me, you wicked and evil doer." And I do not want to sit and squander what God has given me the ability to do, which is why I'm so passionate about learning, growing, giving. Dude, like I've now when I go to these events, like, people literally flock to me and they go, "Oh, Mikey, blah, blah." I don't know half these people's names. I don't know 90% of their names. And, "Oh, you changed my life, you did this, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Do you mind sending me a DM about that?" Because I like to screenshot that and save it, because as you can imagine, same thing with Jesus, people hate it on you. If you're doing good, people are gonna it's gonna
throw shade. Yeah. That's their own self insecurities, and they're being projected, and their self hatred to themselves, and they see somebody else more successful, and they don't appreciate the goodness. I love that you're so grateful. I mean, this come full circle as we're wrapping it up. You went from like telling me the story how you were the black sheep of the family to, I'm pretty sure you're probably at the top of the chain right now. I don't know what your brothers are doing, but
I am, yeah. But
Your parents will be very
but
happy.
My brothers are both successful in what they do. One of them's a mechanic, the other one's a pastor and a school teacher. I don't base success off of how much money we have. I base success and happiness based off of the quality of life that you're living. My brother has 6 kids and an amazing wife, and he is as happy as the kids that I've served over in Mexico, Costa Rica, Asia, Ethiopia, Europe, Middle East. The people that you go overseas and they these people that you see, they're so happy, and that is true success to me.
I love it. My definition of success, I took it from Earl Nightingale.
Oh, it's good.
He says success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Whatever you're doing, if you're purposely doing that, whether you're a teacher, the mother that wants to stay at home and serve to her kids, the entrepreneur that wants to work 20 hours a day, whatever you're doing, if you're progressively working towards it, you're successful. It's not how much you ended up, is are you doing what you want to do? And I think you're doing that exact same thing, brother.
Trying to inspire more people to do it, man. It's hard. It is very hard. There's a lot of more downs than there is ups, but is it worth doing? I believe it is.
Absolutely.
Can it be done? Yes. Hundreds of thousands of people have done it before. Most billionaires, I read a statistic that most billionaires go bankrupt 7 times. And it's like, if somebody has one loss, they think their life is over. And you're like, no, man, if you don't have that dog, that hunger in you, and that drive, to me personally, as an entrepreneur, you got nothing.
It's that coming back again story.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Social media is the best place. I'm in my DMs. I do have a team that's in my DMs as well, but I am there. That's the best way to get a hold of me, at Mikey Lucas. My YouTube account, at Mikey Lucas, all the handles. I'm on X, I'm on LinkedIn, MikeyLucas.com. There's a ton of free resources around finances. I originally wanted to do the financial stuff to help people in the church, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to not dabble in the game of money. I wanted to master it. So I started studying all these billionaires and all these people that understood the language of money more than I could ever understand, and started studying them, and then basically got what their tools were, recreated it to be dumbed down so a 6th grader could read it,
accessible to others.
And so if you go to my website, MikeyLucas.com, there's a ton of free financial guides that I've created, and budgeting tools, and just a ton of free content, free courses. Like, I haven't sold one course in my entire life, and I got millions of, or I guess thousands of views on my courses. I don't sell courses. I wanted to add value.
You want to give.
Yeah, and again, the goal is, hey, give away the free stuff, and then when eventually people are like, I'd rather give Mikey my money to manage it. Okay, cool. Then at that point, but if not,
helped.
Yeah, on YouTube is free. Like, that's how I got started, was YouTube, and then eventually got into books, and then eventually, started getting into and got some coaches, and I just want to be able to give back. Now that sounds like super cliche, and people say that all the time, but that is what I live for, dude. I don't live for me. I do take care of me. I have to put the mask on myself first, then I'll put it on you. I have to take care of me first. I took care of me. I understand my calling, my identity, why I wake up on a day-to-day basis, and now I'm here to inspire you to go do the same thing. Go turn your 5 talents into 10, brother, because you have no idea who is, not just your family, your kids, but who is counting on you continuing to push forward in what you're doing. It is so vital. It's so important that, with suicide and things like that, within our generation, like, people just need to see that there is hope for a future, that there is a bright future ahead of them. When you can inspire people to do that and see that, and tell them, prophesy, right? Tell them how valuable they are. They
Sometimes people don't believe themselves. You just gotta give them a little bit of a push. This has been one more episode of the CEO in Motion. Mikey, freaking pleasure, brother.
Thank you.
I'm sure we're just gonna stay connected. Enjoy the wedding tomorrow, and see you guys later.